All right,
Meow.
meow meow. All right, let's continue doing Rust. So let's close all this.
We made a constructor.
We did. Let's have a look at that constructor. So if we go into the source file of grid, so explain what grid is going to be.
Like CSS grid.
Like CSS grid, yep.
We'll use it for the matrix, so it's like perfect for that.
Yep. So given a matrix, we're going to lay out the UI using Druid, where essentially we will write the flex rows and the flex columns, but returning widgets in this thing called a widget pod, which is a container of widgets. So just reading this, this info for grid. So I stored the type of this thing in here because it was getting really, really big. And and so grid just has one field of children, which is a vector of widgets, even though it's a widget pods. So what do we have? We have this generic T, which implements this data trait. And we still need to define T after the trait. So this says what types we're going to use and also what it's constrained to, which is an implementation of data. And it will implement, it's an implementation of grid, which takes this T. So you have to always define this twice. If you're going to use grid, implement it for a grid of type T. If you did, you don't have to do this in the sense that you can define your generic types here and not put this here for grid if you're not gonna.
I don't think that's true. I think the first angle brackets, you can have as many types as you want there, as many template parameters as you want there. And then the second one is which one goes to grid. Because in the pub struct grid, it's defined to have a T, and so you need to populate it with something from the types.
My question wasn't, I guess my statement wasn't quite clear. If grid was not templated and one of the functions was...
Oh, if it was not templated, yeah.
Would you still have to define the templated type in this impulse section if you were just going to use it in one of the functions, or do you not need to do that?
That's a good question. I don't know. If it's only going to be used on the methods, I don't know. I feel like it would be nice to be able to do it up there because, like, if it's going to be the same for all of them.
Exactly. Yeah.
But if it's not used in the grid itself, I don't know.
Okay, so reading this, we have implemented a new method for grid template on T, where it's going to take a U, an F, and a W. So what are these? Well, the first parameter to new is this double vector, which is templated on U, one of the generics. And also we have dog, which is actually a lambda function. And how is it a lambda function? Well, it's taking this generic type F, but constrained on this method is that F has to be an Fn, and this is this magic syntax to say that it's a function. Other things that Rust provide is Fn once, which means that you can call the function only once, whereas this allows us to call it multiple times. So I imagine we can do this because we're only calling it once.
We are calling it many times.
Oh, yeah, sorry, you're right. Every time we iterate over the matrix, we're calling this function. So yeah, we don't want to use Fn once. But it's returning a W, and W is constrained on it has to be a implementation of widget templated on T. And this lifetime syntax, which says that it's in the global lifetime space and can be constrained later, but we need this in order for this to work. And I can't fully explain, I guess, the reason why. Can you sort of go into the details there?
I interpret this as it's not allowed to have any So when you make structs, if those structs have references, you need to template them on the lifetime of the reference.
Yep.
So that it can do type checks. And I think that kind of like lifetime template, like generic over lifetime, is not allowed here, because when you put it into a box, the box has like a runtime lifetime. So it can't actually do any checks against any static lifetimes of scopes and things.
Okay, so that's important to look at W in the context of this widget pod, which has a box.
Yeah, I think it's related to the box, because boxes means it lives on the heap and its lifetime is basically up to the runtime.
So I assume then, like, if we are going to use box elsewhere and implement functions that might return or take this, we would have to do something similar and specify this static lifetime.
I think so. I think I have a theory that it's whenever you have like a generic T that you're giving to box, it needs that static.
Yeah. So it's like box plus generic T, like a constraint on something that's box but also generic.
Yeah. I guess my theory could be tested if we try to create a box with a struct that is templated on the lifetime.
Yeah, we can do that. So I've set up a playground Rust project that we can just do some of this stuff.
Nice.
So, okay. So let's create, as you said, a box that's templated on T. So do we want to write a function that does that? Or
a struct that's templated on...
Yep.
Oh, sorry. Oh, yeah, the box. Yeah, we want to write a function that's templated on T, which creates the box.
So I write this here, I think, after the name, and then I give it the parameter that's this T is templated, but also boxed, right? So it's going to take some boxed. T is going to be some boxed thing, right? And
I think in this function we create box. So let's receive the T and then attempt to box it.
Okay. So let's just take this param and boxed param equals new box new with some param, and then let's call this with something. So we'll just give it like an integer, so we can go turbofish. Or do I even need to turbofish? Will it infer it if I just use?
Let's find out.
Okay, so I got some warnings in that this is not used, but let's just run this cargo. I'm gonna make this a bit smaller so I can see more. Is that readable?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'll go run. Okay, so it's running. So we didn't really get the error.
Okay, so it didn't care about T static. That's interesting. I don't know. Maybe if we say T is a
struct of something
satisfies a trait, and then we try to put it in a line box.
Yeah. So where, and then T satisfies some trait. So we should create a trait.
Yeah.
Some trait. And remind me, like, in terms of the trait, how I'd write that. How would I
function?
Yeah, so inside here we would have some function definitions that it has to satisfy. So let's just say it's going to satisfy printing out something. Yeah.
And take a self, probably. Yeah.
this up though. And here we go. Doesn't have a size known at compile time.
Make it take a reference itself.
Okay. Okay, yeah. So we're going to say that this T satisfies some trait. Already we're getting something. Not. Oh. So do I have to? Right. But I was just wondering.
For our type.
Can I do that like this?
I don't think you can. I think you can only import for.
Structs.
Let's try.
Yeah.
But I think you can only import for types that come from this module.
And do I even need to write this if it's got a default definition?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, you can omit it. Yeah, you do need the braces though.
Okay. I don't need this. Cool. Ah, looks like I can.
Oh, I think I was wrong. Maybe it's you can only implement. Maybe the trait needs to come from your module. There's some restriction where it's like if the trait doesn't come from your module and the type doesn't come from your module, you can't join them together. I know that part.
But it looks like you can implement it for primitive types. Okay.
Happy?
It seems
still happy.
Be.
So what's up with our example where it's like function return impl blah blah blah? That's interesting. I've got no idea now.
Yeah, I think we should just move on though. Okay, so what did we get up to? We've actually returned this grid with children, and we have a test here that actually tests this. So let's just look at what we had. So we created some matrix, and that's what this is taking, the double vector of, in this case, some integers. I assume that actually makes these integers, right? Because I'm using just no floating numbers in this vec.
I don't know.
Does this actually tell me if I just highlight over this what it's gonna do? Yeah, I32. So yeah.
Nice.
And then because grid is templated on T, and that we don't have a T yet because that's going to be our app state, just give it none, and we're calling new with our matrix, which is this 2x2. And what is that doing? It's got iterating through each row and each cell, and it's creating this widget pod. So this widget pod is this concept in Druid where it contains, so it's templated on T and W. It takes an inner W. I just want to revise this because it's a bit convoluted. It's templated on T, which is our app state data. And then we have in here state, which is widget state, old data, and inner. So what's widget state? Widget state is generic state for all widgets in the hierarchy. It's got this widget ID, all this.
All that UI graphic stuff. A bloom.
It had a bloom, right. The region that needs to be repainted.
The children bloom. Is that a bloom filter?
Oops. How come I can't go to this?
It doesn't exist.
Oh, because it's from a separate crate.
Yeah.
Does it have...
Wait. When it says crate, doesn't that mean like current crate?
No. So Kobo is like a separate crate as well.
What does crate mean?
I'm pretty sure these are external. Like if we look at the TOML, we can see Kobo.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I thought we saw crate before to mean like the current crate, but I guess not.
Yeah, isn't it
here
like
it
the
looks like
root?
it's talk about other crates.
I think it's the root of the crate, right?
So the
Where?
crates, it's like the crate libraries or like the current crate. Because yeah, it's definitely not the current crate. We don't
Yeah.
have Kerbo and Bloom and.
But why is it that I can't see it in the dependencies, Kerbo?
Oh,
So
that
where is it?
maybe it is the current crate.
Yeah.
What?
If I just do this, Kerbo.
Not in the source.
Yeah, where do they get it from? Maybe I'll just do a search on this
Yeah.
thing. Absolute Druid Kerbo. Druid Kerbo. Okay, so it's saying. Ah, okay. So this data file, which is in here, does this as well. But then it has all these implementations. But where is Kerbo like?
See if there's one that's not a use, like a
Yeah.
anything not use. Use.
They're all used.
Yeah.
But then it's not like putting in the tunnel. Unless it's like in here or something. Kerbo. I'm just gonna search.
That's what I was hoping to find is like a
Yeah.
tunnel file with it.
I'll do it in here instead. Ah, okay, here we go. There we go.
That's a log file.
Yeah, so there's a higher level TOML file that has it. I think somewhere. I was in there.
Somewhere.
Where is this one?
Like the log file is not a handwritten file, right?
No.
But they got it from somewhere, definitely.
Unless it's like in this shell.
Yeah, maybe it's in one of the sub.
It is. Yeah. So this Kerbo
Yeah.
is in this shell thing, which I'm not sure what that is. Perform abstract application shell used for Druid toolkit.
That's indirect.
Yeah, it's pretty indirect. Anyway, good to know. Where were we? Well, yeah. So we were looking at the widget pod, and like what exactly that was, which is this thing. So we've created the grid that has the widget pods, but like, if we look at main, which had the actual UI, that's what we want to somehow implement from our code. Yeah, the widgets.
Yeah, but we mostly did that. We just need to do layout.
That's right. So we have the labels, the list of labels. Now, do we want the grid to actually create the flex rows as well, or is that going to be in the
output? Oh, if you want that, then you don't want to be creating a. Yeah, if you want that, then you wouldn't be creating a grid of widget pods. You just have a flex inside you.
That's right. Yeah.
And then I guess this would be populating the flex accordingly.
Yeah. So we could
do that.
We could just reuse the new function. Instead of calling it new, we could just like let it operate on a vector of t, first create the labels, and then iterate through the list of labels to create the flex from that. Does that seem reasonable?
Whereas a different function?
Yeah, like a multi-stepped thing. So we first create the labels, and then from the labels we create the grid.
Okay.
So we won't call this new. Maybe we'll call it what do we call it? Matrix to something, transform or something. Transform children.
Wait, so this thing is still going to do what it does now and create a vector widget.
Well, but it's not going to be specifically widget pod. It's going to first, well, labels is a widget pod, sorry. And then is flex also a widget pod?
If we're going to be adding to flex, then we don't need to create the widget pods. Flex will do that for us.
Oh, right. Okay. So So we've did this level of indirection that is kind of like not
We
popular.
probably don't need it. We can probably just build the flex directly. from the double
Yeah. Maybe let's just keep it there though. So we'll call this like build widget pod or something. Create widget pod.
New underscore old.
Okay.
New underscore backup.
Sure. New underscore backup. I like it. And this should still work. Yep. Let's test because testing is good.
Testing is good. Test.
Well. And while that's
There's a lot of warnings.
Yeah. It's mainly to do with how it's never used, I think.
It's complaining about like Flexbox and stuff. That's not our code. Right? Yeah, we didn't. Did we edit Flexbox?
No, they're pure examples. I'm not sure why it's like detecting these though. Like I kind of want these to not show up in the compile at all. Like these are just like
cargo tunnel, you can tell it not to build examples.
Cargo, toml, ignore directory or
Does
something.
Does it specify examples?
Well, it doesn't actually specify any path. It just builds everything. Yeah. So
really? That's kind of insane.
So I want like to ignore folder.
Yeah. Exclude fields. Yeah.
Exclude.
Yeah.
So under a package. Exclude. And then we just give it.
Exactly.
Hopefully I can just do star.
They said it was like git ignore, so I think you don't even need to say star. Yeah, anything that begins with that.
Yes, cool.
Sweet.
Wait, no. Why does it still have all this stuff?
Or is it? Oh, it's still contained by examples. Maybe okay, maybe it needs stuff. Or maybe cargo does something else.
Maybe. Yeah, it's still coming up. So.
Okay.
And also in the compile, it's picking up. So it's like whatever we can. Like the run as well is doing the same thing. So we kind of want to. Hey. Sorry. Sorry. Oh, okay. Don't compile Rust cargo toml. So it's in here somewhere. So what's the compile?
Maybe, like, I don't know why the exclude didn't work. Maybe we should read that section. It must be doing something else.
Yeah.
For the purposes of packaging.
Yeah.
So yeah, we want to care about compiling.
Yeah, that's why I was searching for just the word compile.
Oh yeah.
Profiles.
This cat smells like paint.
Like paint.
Yep.
Okay.
Why does it smell like paint?
I think this is more just how to optimize instead of what to include in the compile. Target. Yeah, you kind of want to like how to customize.
What if we rename the folder? Maybe examples are special.
You reckon? Can try that.
Well, example B.
No.
No.
Still taking.
Wait, I don't see it. It's gone.
Oh.
It's gone. Example B.
No. In the run though, it's still picking it up.
But look at the file name, that's not right.
Yeah, why is it still picking up examples?
Well,
Huh?
I don't think. Did you run it again? Try again.
Yeah.
Wait, what? What?
What? The hell?
But oh look, there's examples in source. There's the problem.
Ah, sorry. Yeah. Well, okay.
Is that a copy paste?
I think so.
Yeah. Anyway, that makes a lot more sense.
Yeah. Whoops. My bad.
Oh,
Yay, and run. What? It's still there?
it's still there.
What the hell?
Rename example B.
Huh?
That one doesn't have it, but the other one, is that in the same directory?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because I need to build it,
Okay.
and when I build it though, it has this, so...
Fuck. Maybe clean.
Oh yeah, cargo clean.
Why is text update but run does not?
I guess run will run the binary, and it hasn't detected any change, so it's just like...
Yeah.
It's bundled.
It's weird that it caches the warnings, but okay. How does it not detect change if we like deleted an entire folder? I guess we probably don't need cargo tunnel anymore.
Yeah, true. No, I'll just keep it there. Come on. Okay. Yeah, it's gone. Sweet.
Oh, that's different.
Yeah.
We didn't have that before.
Yeah.
But it's like it wasn't compiling. This whole time it wasn't compiling. What the hell?
I think because I didn't make any change. So if I'd like did something like added a print.
Like it wasn't doing new old before. That was definitely a change.
That's true.
Anyway,
Oh,
we'll
is it
see.
because main is not including grid? Oh, it is. Also now it's not like finding this crate for Druid in theme.rs.
Uh-oh.
But it ran. I don't know. It's just a Sublime thing, like, let's ignore it. Okay, so...
build.
Yeah. Alright, so if we create a new... and we want to return instead the actual flex. So this segment. So we're just going to return one flex, I guess, the flex root. What do you think?
Honestly, our grid is really just a function, isn't it?
Well, that's what I was saying initially yesterday.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's two ways you can go about this. You could do the layout yourself completely, or you could delegate to Flex. And if you're delegating to Flex, you might as well just be a function.
Yeah, I guess the reason why I thought, you know, going down the struct path it would be useful is because we could write it in the sort of CSE grid box way, and then that way
Yeah.
you could.
I was thinking of not using flex at all and doing the layout math. But either way works.
Yeah, I think for the first part, let's just maybe not do
Make
that.
flex.
Yeah, and just
Yeah.
make flex the
Yeah.
as a function. So I'll still keep this grid, but then we'll just have a grid, like make grid function. So I'll just get rid of all this stuff. Don't need it anymore.
Mhm.
And don't need this. And do you suggest removing?
Git commit delete everything.
Oh yeah.
Oh, wait, but we got video recording. Who needs Git anymore when you've got a video?
It's true.
There's your history.
Yeah.
And then red git revert is just restoring reality to that point in time in the video.
Sure. Okay. So we're going to create a pub fn make grid.
Flex grid.
Flex grid.
Make flex grid.
That's going to take our matrix vec ends of some type u. So we got to make.
And lambda.
What would
Is
the
this
lambda
gonna
be for?
the same as like new old, but like it makes a flex.
So we can decide whether it's going to use a label or something else or something, or we can do.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I think so. That makes sense. So we're going to return a root flex box, and that's of type. What is this type? Struct flex
Flex
t. So we need a t. Where fn u. No. So this lambda is gonna take, yeah, u and return a w. Yeah, do we need a w as well?
Yep. Let's copy paste.
And this has to go after the thing. Okay. Cool. Alright, so we're gonna pretty much do the same thing, just like create a new vector. Oh, well, we're not gonna create a new vector, we're gonna create a new flex instead. So I guess the first thing is to check the size of this. Like if it's an empty matrix, we don't want to do anything. What are we going to return then if it's like an empty flex?
Just an empty flex, I guess.
So let's see if we can do that. So if the matrix.len is going to be 0, we will just return let f equals flex row lol. I'm just gonna do explicit returns because
yeah, I kind of prefer explicit return.
Yeah. Okay, what's this saying? What's the actual error? Well, I guess this should tell us.
The other branch doesn't exist.
Sorry?
Probably
right.
saying the other branch is missing.
Yeah, right. I'm just gonna return f first. I'm not gonna do this yet and see what
Little
happens.
complain about. Oh yeah, okay. Yeah.
Watch x run. So it's fine, unless, but we got to use it. So let's use this here. And we want to use grid, make flex grid. And we're going to create a matrix. So we'll just use the same matrix we have here.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll put this in here and we'll call it the same way.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't look right because this is missing that. So what happens if I just do this? Oh, it has to be templated on app state. So I need to go this,
Okay.
make flex grid app state.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm missing I don't want to do that, but also unexpected identifier.
Take out those columns, I think.
I thought the Turbofish required you to have that. Okay, so now we get something which I can't really tell what the error is. It's saying expected one argument. I found one. What? This takes 2 arguments. Ah, is it because we need all of these?
I hope not.
Yeah. I mean, I can start giving this the arguments like I32.
The definition of the function only takes one parameter, though. That's might be an issue.
Sorry, I didn't see that. Yeah, matrix, and it needs a lambda. So we want to go lambda is of type F.
Yeah.
Okay,
And
now
W is not referenced anywhere.
yeah, so W was the FN. Oh, U to W. Whoops.
Yeah. So, like, hopefully it can infer from the parameter. If you make the label explicitly an app state, it could infer the
Right. So just like take this out and then do label app state instead.
Yeah. And then if you constrain the W to be a widget T, then it should be able to infer that T.
Oops.
Okay. Okay. The arguments, but 3 were provided. 3? 3?
I think
the
way that yeah. So I need to do this.
Yep.
And what's it saying here? Oh, cannot infer type parameter T. I'm just gonna get rid of these. Don't need them. Oh, hello.
Nice.
Nice.
Yay.
Awesome.
Sweet.
Okay.
It inferred the T. I was like on the fence of whether that would actually work.
Right.
Look at that Haskell inference.
So the key thing there was like to get that to work without having to specify all of the parameters for this is that we delegated it to the instantiation of the label, which has the app state. And then for that to work, we needed the widget to have a constraint on t. Okay, so let's do our matrix ln equals 0, return f, and then we'll do the else. Well, we'll just do the stuff here. So we want to now for loop over our matrix. Okay, so now what we want to do is start creating the flex thing, which I got rid of. Let's just save this and then go back to what it was so I can see what it was. Okay, so we want this thing. So I want to first create a row, which we have, and then I want to keep doing this builder pattern with flex child. So we have our row, and then for every cell in the thing, that's the column. Let me just draw the matrix here.
I think it's the other way around.
So it's actually a column.
Oh, sorry, column in that row. Okay, yeah, no, you're right. But you're right that the outer one should be column.
Yeah.
Because it goes downwards, yeah.
So it goes down. So it goes. No, you selected the row, and then for each cell, it's like the columns in the row.
But like, we have a list of rows. Is our matrix?
That's right. So it should be.
So the rows live in a column.
So that should be that.
I think so.
Okay. So then we want to do f dot with flex child, I guess. And then we want to create a column. No.
A row. But like not in the other for loop though.
Oh, you want to create a row first.
Yeah, for the row, create a row.
Yep. And we want to set this to a row. Can I do that? I'll have to create the row first.
You'll need a different variable name.
Yeah. Let r equal flex row. And then we want to do that. So it's a new one of these. And then, yep. And then in here, we want to then with child this row. Sorry, f dot with flex child. I'll just do this for now. And then this row, we want to like add the with child label. So let's create a new label. So like currently we have u as being like if it's I32, we'll have to like do a toString or something. So we
also have lambda.
That's right. So we just call lambda on you. Yeah, that's true. No, you're right. Yeah, and that's how we can get around it. So we can just do lambda lambda cell.
Yeah.
And then with child L. Yes. And what is this? Because I need semicolon and I need semicolon. Cool. And then I need to then so we've added the call and then we just need to return this.
I'm a bit confused. That shouldn't work. What does withChild do? What's the type signature of withChild?
Self of
that child parameter, it's taking ownership of it.
Yeah, it's not passing in as per reference, right?
And then in our code,
Yeah.
where we're saying f.withChild r, we should have lost access to r. Like the subsequent for loop
That's true.
shouldn't be able to use r, but it's not error. Let's see what compiler says.
Yeah.
Colon music. Colon probably.
Yeah. Oh, here we go. Ah, there we go. Moved. Yeah. So we want like a reference. Mutable.
You wanna do the with child after you've finished building the child.
Okay. So we don't want to do this until we finished building it. So at the end of this, we do this. And what do we get? Moved grid 27. So this is still moving F, because once we've done it the first time with this function call, we've modified. Should we make this mutable?
Oh, can we go back to the with child's definition?
Yeah.
It's the builder pattern, isn't it? So it's returning self. It takes self and it takes ownership of self. Like this function takes ownership of self. So when you call it, you lose access to the object. But it returns the
I see.
again.
Yeah.
And that, yeah.
So this is returning it in here to something, and then we need to make F equals that. Yeah.
Pretty much.
And the same thing with the other stuff.
Oh,
so
that's wow.
what?
So oh yeah, our variables need to be mutable as well.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's kind of weird to see this. But it works, look at that.
What is this complaining about?
Well, yeah, what does compiler say?
I think it's just a warning. Yeah.
That was the warning.
I really want to suppress some
Remove
of
these
stuff.
parentheses. No parentheses.
Did it say that?
Yeah.
Where does it say that?
Up.
Oh yeah. This. Yeah, working out how to like read that more effectively.
Not those. Those are braces.
Sorry.
Yeah,
you mean
the
these? Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like
but,
Python-y.
We don't need that if anyway.
Oh, because we're always going to return this, and this will never have anything. Yeah.
Yep.
True. Very true. Cool.
Yeah.
So,
this somehow it feels neater than the other new that we had.
yeah. Well.
Because of the widget pod is like this disgusting thing. I'm curious, what if we take away the plus static constraint on W? Is it still happy?
Yeah, it's not. It's the same error, but this is potentially not.
May not live long enough. Okay.
Okay, so if we want then to create another one of these that is text input, let's then like this make flex grid is being called with this label And this is actually not reflective of the code because I undid everything. So let me just check out main again. Oh. What?
What happened?
Oh
Where
shit!
did our beautiful code go?
I forgot to commit it.
Well, we get to do that again.
Yeah. Oh, good.
I think he just copy pasted the tests that you had anyway.
Yeah. I wonder if I can. I can't undo it. Okay, it doesn't matter. That's all good. I can just put it back in.
We could go to the video, transcribe everything.
Oh my god! What the hell?
Happened? What?
Grid make flex grid. There we go. All right, so grid and what did I put in here? The label, right?
The lambda.
Yes, the lambda. So x. Yeah, sorry, you're right. Yes, and then the app state.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's actually good to do it again because you get to see this.
Oh yeah, the sort of cover. Wait, look, cover right check.
Cool. Now let's commit this. Awesome. Okay, so add to grid, make grid method, create the flex layout with a lambda. Okay, so what if we just change this to now use a text area? So
Is
how
it
does
that simple? Just text area.
Well, we'll have to look at the example that had like a text area or text widget, which was called a text box. Sorry. So they create a new text box, parse, lens, and fixed width. So let's look at the new parameter for text box. That's a text box.
What was that lens? What was that crazy chaos?
Oh, placeholder. So we can put something in there. Nice.
Sweet.
So if we go here and then do text box new, and this is something that I keep forgetting, but like there's no named parameters in that. So if you wanted to just like put a specific parameter in, you would have to rely on there being a default implementation.
Which function?
So like in this one where I want to put a new text box, right?
Yeah.
It has this struct.
But you're calling new, so you're calling the new function.
Yes, and the new function doesn't take any parameter.
Yeah.
But then I do that, and then I call placeholder, I guess. How do we change the placeholder? Is there a setup with placeholder? Builder style method. Okay, so we just do with placeholder. Okay, so we do main new empty. And then, oh, this is where we can use like a lambda function with a brace. Can you do it like that? Cool. So we create the text box first with empty, and then we do dot with placeholder. Where was that thing?
Yeah.
With placeholder. Yeah.
Dog.
Well, we want the cell X, right?
Give me a grid of dogs.
Okay, let's just do that. Sure.
Yeah.
Then that's going to return that, and this doesn't like it because we don't have text box, so let's add that. And that was lowercase.
I think it's uppercase D.
Ah,
Yeah.
so
Wait, what?
trait upstate is not implemented for string.
Wait, what?
I
The trait is not
unexpected type
implemented.
argument.
Oh,
Okay, so like this text box new, is it template
it's
on
not a
T?
widget? Is text box not a widget? The fuck? Is it not a
It
widget?
is. It's under widget. So this is one that's not templated on T.
Wait, so where's the widget implementation? Because the
Yeah.
widget implementation needs a T.
Yeah. So looking at the import text box widget string.
Well, look at
Hello.
that. Boom.
So
I
text box
guess
are limited
not a
to.
widget. Okay, we need to see that example.
Yeah. Yeah.
So import widget params, and somehow it changes. How how does it change?
Hmm,
What does parse do?
that's a good question.
Does that change the?
Like where? Parse should be on text box, right?
Yeah, was it not that?
I couldn't see it in the control R.
Maybe just control F. Parse.
No, it's
What?
not even here. Where is it?
What?
Text
What?
box.
Text box new, and we get a text box, right? But there's no parse.
FN parse. Yeah, there is none.
What the fuck?
Let me just look at the examples that I looked at for this flex.
Is the parse.rf?
Yeah.
Maybe parse.rs defines something for text box somehow?
But that would mean that it would be including this as a mod here, right?
Let's have a look.
Mod. There is no definition for mod.
You're not looking at parse. Okay, it's got nothing. Oh, it's just an example. Oh, I see.
Yeah, this is just, that's an example file.
Right. Not possible.
There's also this widget called like in this one, there's a widget called parse, which is separate, and that has a trait. This is info new. Does it have parse in here? Well, it's just got the
No function.
no function. Just a separate widget. Yeah.
Yeah.
Where is that from?
Okay, that's interesting.
I'm just
when
gonna.
you did the hover over the parse function call,
Yeah.
it seemed to know something.
Yeah. No. It
That?
goes to this thing.
And
Widget extension.
the fuck is this?
Okay, so there's another file called.
use?
So this is in widget under widget ext, and this is a
Pub trait widget X.
takes the t and returns a widget t that is sized and with this lifetime.
And what was the parse signature? It returned parse self. What's a parse?
Converts a widget string to a widget option t.
Option T. Okay.
So that's interesting in that
Option
when they
T.
call, yeah.
Yeah.
So
It converts the string to
a widget t. Yeah. So I wonder if we did dot parse. what happens?
I feel like it needs to be an option T though. I couldn't see that in the type information, but I mean it makes sense. The text boxes are strings, and you need to
Alright,
parse it
so
to
once
something else.
this does this, it becomes a widget option T. Then how do
Yeah.
they take the I can see there's this sum, this lens into the sum X, which is interesting. Spacer size. What's that? Also went into the music.
It's probably been an hour. Oh. Why does it do that?
Yeah, it's been an hour. That's why.
Wait, but YouTube has a "Are you still there?" thing.
That's what I clicked.
I mean, but since when does YouTube do that?
It's always done that, I think.
Like Netflix?
Yeah.
I've never had that.
Okay. You just haven't watched things long enough. So
maybe it's different if you pay money.
Okay, so the parse function returns an option T, which we saw somewhere at the widget extension. Yeah. So this thing returns a widget. It returns a self, which is a widget extension. Sorry. Which is a widget returns a widget option T. Sorry. Widget option T. I'm a bit confused. Where's the option T again?
On parse, I think.
Oh, it's on parse? And I'm on the wrong one, sorry. Yeah, so this calls parse, which returns this thing. Yeah. Yeah, it returns a parse self. Parse self being converts a widget string to a widget option T, and then it calls len and somehow use the sum stuff. And also has this param spacer size dot map.
So it's using the lens, the spacer size field, but you can also map it.
So it has to relate it to the app state somewhere, right?
Yeah.
This is the params.
Yeah. And
which
spacer size is F64.
Yes. So should we just do dot lens with or what is our app state? It's a string. We're not relating it to the app string.
Yeah, we should do dot lens with. Oh wait, but we don't have our matrix should be in our app state.
That's true. So we can start putting it in to the data model. I'll just close some of this stuff because it's.
Yeah. We can probably like do a type alias matrix equals vec I32.
Yeah.
Or F64.
So let's have a matrix type vec2.
I can smell dumplings.
Sorry?
I can smell dumplings.
Oh.
Dumplings with vinegar and soy sauce.
Cool. Type vec2 is going to be vec. So this is going to have a matrix of type vec2 I32. And we're just going to construct this maybe as a default thing for us. Oops. Hmm.
Implemented. Oh. Oh.
Oh, so we have to implement it.
Can we implement it? So, what is this? I guess we have to, instead we can't derive it, we have to import data for our app state.
We can't derive it in the call side.
For our app state, I don't think we can derive data. We have to create an import data for app state.
I see. Yeah.
That's unfortunate that it's not defined for Vec.
So we just...
How are they not defined for Vec? How have they gotten this far without defining it for Vec? That's crazy.
Well, this is a vec I32. If I just change this to vec...
It should be... Yeah, it should be fine. It should request...
will this work?
Yeah. Good test.
Ooh. Missing... read
Probably
there.
because I need that input data.
Sorry? Oh yeah, right. Yeah. Yeah. Sorry. Okay, so it's the same. Not implemented for vacuum. Yeah.
That's bad.
I think in the documentation they said for more complex types they use something. They embed it in like an arc or something. Let's have a look. First.
Wait, what did they do for the game array?
Oh yeah,
Was
that's
that
a good
okay?
example.
The array or?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
hold on, just before we see that, there's something I want to look at. Where's the official docs? There we go. That's exactly what I meant to. Where's the... Doesn't matter. There was like some documentation that I saw on Druid. Let's see, it might be in here. Druid book.
Kerbo is a library for 2D geometry. Yeah, okay. Piet is an abstraction for doing 2D graphics.
Yeah. Here we go. Data is not implemented for SCD types like vec or hashmap. You can always put this inside an RC or an ARC.
But why is it not implemented? Why?
But if we put it in that, we can use data. So let's just do that.
It seems that way. But why?
Well, let's ignore it for now. I've already got that. So now...
I'm guessing they probably think like it's not cheap to clone a vec or a hash map, so they decided against doing that, which I disagree with.
Why do you disagree with it?
Like, it's not cheap, but like, let the programmer decide how much CPU they want to spend for convenience. I have no problem copying our little matrix vector. It's fine.
Oh yeah. So how do I wrap this in an arc? Do I just do arc?
Number, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Data. Data. It's hard to read all these errors. Okay, so now we can see the errors are on the main only, so that's good.
Mhm.
Yeah, so what did we want to do with text box? We wanted to parse it and use lens or something
Yeah, yeah.
with matrix. I wonder if I could just do that. And I don't need this anymore because I can create a new, like if I already have the app state, I don't need this anymore, right?
That's right. That is given later in main.
So when I make the grid then, how do I pass in the app state matrix? It's just app state matrix, maybe?
Good point. You can't. It needs to get it from the
lens.
T.
Yeah.
It's like dynamic stuff.
Yeah.
Label dynamic text was this thing that would read the text as it got it. So we need our flex grid to do that, I guess.
So I can't access the app state at all.
We don't have it.
Yeah.
That changes everything. So this is okay. So it's obviously trying to follow this model where the UI is a function of the data, but when we write the code, it's not written like a function of data. There's no data parameter. Where does the data come from? It's like this magical thing that gets injected through lenses or something.
Yeah.
And I don't fully understand how the data gets to populate the UI. Shit.
Yeah, like in here, they're not putting in app state as a as a parameter to the actual widget, which is our problem.
Yeah. So rebuilder is where it will populate all that stuff, and so inside that definition, it somehow gets it. This inner equals build widget data params. It has data. So whoever calls rebuild inner has the data.
So who calls rebuild inner? This widget lifecycle.
Lifecycle has data.
Okay.
Update has data.
So somehow the flex also has a lifecycle, passing the data in to into it via this method, which we just need to figure out. I think we might leave it there.
There's our function for UI built on data. Yeah.
So if we were to write the next to-dos, it'd be figuring out how to access in this thing, in this grid, the inner lifecycle to get the data. And we've seen that Lens can do that, but we want to somehow embed it in a generic way. Or like we want to be able to not just like use the data, but also static data that we create in the UI. Like it would be good to have both.
Static data?
Yeah, like just random labels that we want to add to the UI that's not related to the app state at all. That would be useful. And this sort of makes this flexible enough to do. But if you are given a widget, like in this case we are, it has access to T. And inside the widget's lifecycle, that parameter gets past the data that we can also access, right? So it's like, how do we make it conform to both, is how I'm interpreting it.
Yeah, so our make flex grid is really that rebuild inner function, I think.
Yeah. So you're saying it's equivalent to this inner function, rebuild inner function. All right. All right, I'll make that as a comment. We can look at it another time.
Yeah, this is a bit of a hurdle. And something feels like wrong here. Like that Rebuilder. That shouldn't be the idiom. It does so much just copy paste boilerplatey stuff to forward all those events and things down into its like widget. Like what? Why isn't this generalized so that you can just create a widget with a lambda that takes the data and builds the widget?
So either we make
Why
the
is why we build like a generic thing that can take a lambda?
Or maybe that's a design thing we can do, and they just sort of, in these examples, making it more concrete to just the app state. I think if we look at their bigger project, the font thing, we might be able to also get some intuition about how they use app state. These examples might be very restrictive to this sort of data model, but yeah, I guess we'll have a look next time. Cool.
Yeah.
GG.
Yeah, we don't have a proper understanding of this like dynamic data updating with the UI.
No, but I think we've covered quite a lot of traction. Just being able to get the matrix in the thing.
Yeah, we wrote some Rust.
Yes, that's the main goal.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
GG.
GG.
Yeah.